Hello, Science Alliance. Hello. So I am Lara. This is Theatre of Science. I have been streaming free live lessons for 4 years, and you have just found lesson 1 of Mycology. Congratulations. What is Mycology? Got a lie, I can't lie, 2 months ago, I didn't even know. So that's the first thing we're going to cover. But I've learned a lot about the English language this week as well. So first of all, we'll do this little English language quiz, which you might have been working on while you were waiting for the lesson to start. What's the word for more than one cactus, platypus, octopus, sheep and fungus? Should we just, I mean, it doesn't matter, does it? Should we just go through it? It's not really anything to do with fungus, I just thought it was interesting. So in English, right, the English language is great because we've stolen loads of words from loads of different languages. So if a word comes from Latin and it ends in us, then more than one of them, you usually put an I on the end. But if it comes from Greek and it ends in an us, it usually ends with an S. So that's why cactus, more than one cactus, the word cactus comes from Latin, so 2 cactuses is cacti, which you probably knew. It does sound Latin, doesn't it? You can imagine a Roman saying it. Anything with an I on the end sounds Latin. But more than one platypus, that word comes from the Greek, so you have 2 platypuses. You wouldn't say platypi. It's a fun word, but it's not correct. Octopuses, whenever I talk about octopuses in Theatre of Science, people always say, oh, Lara, I think you'll find it's octopi. And it's not, because the word octopus comes from the Greek. I think actually, technically, you could say octopodes, but it's octopuses, actually. A sheep, more than one sheep is just sheep, because it turns out that comes from German, and they do a different thing. And fungus, yeah, more than one. I'm going to get this wrong the whole way through this lesson, but fungus comes from the Latin, which means mushroom. So more than one fungus, and you say fungi. There you go. There are some like exceptions to the rule, like when we do digestion lessons and we talk about how you eat food and then the food comes out of your body right at the end. Your body comes out of the anus, which is, I believe, a Latin word, but you don't say ani, do you? You say anuses, and bonuses is the other exception. Right, so what is mycology? We got there. Mycology, the myco bit comes from this word in Greek. I don't know how you say that. Mercus? I don't know. But anyway, it's Greek for fungus, which is Latin for mushroom. And ology, I didn't know this. It means study in Greek. That makes sense of so much, doesn't it? Like psychology is the study of the psyche. So anyway, mycology, which is what we are doing, is the study of fungus. We got there. Right, I'm going to be an annoying teacher now, because at teacher school, they tell you that you've got to do something called showing progress. So I have to check that you don't know stuff at the beginning of the lesson, and then at the end of the lesson, I'll check again, and hopefully you will have learned stuff. So I'm going to show you some pictures. Some of these things are fungi and some of them aren't fungi, and I want you to just really quickly decide which are fungi and which aren't fungi. If you've got the sheet, you just put like a tick or a cross. I'm kind of hoping that you don't know it all, because my life would just have more purpose if I got to teach you some of this stuff over the next 45 minutes or so. But anyway, if you do know them all, good for you. Is an egg a fungus? Are these blotches on this conker leaf, horse chestnut leaf, those specific blotches, are they a fungus? Pine cone, is that a fungus? Lichen, toadstool, yeast, wrapped up in a croissant in this case, and mould. Which of those are fungi and which are not fungi? I'll just give you like a few seconds, because like I say, it's good for me if you don't know. You get more thinking time in the YouTube lessons because they're early on in the morning and I've got coffee. Are you done? Doesn't matter, just don't think about it, just go with the instincts. Just quick cross or tick. And then we'll talk about the history of life on Earth. I know. Have you done it? Good? Yes, you're on YouTube, aren't you? So you can always pause it, but I have a child who really panics if I go too fast with things, so I'm always aware of that. But this one really doesn't matter. Just a quick tick or a cross. Egg, blotches on conker leaves, pine cone, lichen, toadstool, yeast, and mould. Which one of those are fungus? All right, let's move on, shall we? Okay, good. So yeah, the Theatre of Science thing is quite low production values, but we always go back right to the beginning. So like fungus is a eukaryote, but I'm not just going to tell you that. We'll go back to the beginning. We'll talk about the history of all life on Earth. You are welcome. And then we'll set up our activity if you brought a bottle and some yeast with you. But here we go. You ready for a little kind of story time? About 3.7 billion years ago, living things appeared on Earth. You probably have questions about this sentence, but sorry, we don't have time to go into how they appeared. Also, I don't know. But anyway, life on Earth appeared and it looked a bit like this. It's like a blob of fluid with a cell membrane around the outside. And this is the important bit. Its DNA was sloshing all loosey-goosey inside this blob of fluid. Are you okay with what DNA is? You know how DNA is like a protein that is in your body, it's in living things, and it's kind of like the instructions for what the living thing is going to be. So your DNA decides like what colour your eyes are, what colour your hair is, roughly how tall you are, that kind of thing. So this DNA had decided that this thing was going to be a blob of fluid, and the DNA that decided that was all just sloshing around. And it had a cell wall as well. We'll talk about cell walls later. This is your ancestor, probably. So anyway, these kinds of things were the only life on Earth for over 1 billion years. Imagine 1 billion years. You can't. This is the weird thing. Like when we talk about finding life on other planets, we're actually really talking about finding things that are one cell big. That's not, I mean, that is amazing. But the really incredible thing is that after that, life got more complicated. But anyway, over 1 billion years, these are the only things on Earth. They're one cell big, they've got swishy, sloshy DNA, and they're too small to see. Nobody there to see them, but you know what I mean. Scientists put these very early living things into two groups, which we don't really need to go into, but it's fun. Archaea and bacteria. So there's two slightly different types of teeny tiny DNA sloshy things, and they still exist. In fact, there are loads in your guts right now. You couldn't live without each other. They help you to digest your food. I've put adorable teamwork. Thank you, little gut pets. That's why you've got to eat a lot of different nutrients to look after your gut pets. Amazing. Anyway, you will have noticed that it's not only archaea and bacteria on Earth now. Now we have living things that don't have their DNA all loosey-goosey. We've got these other things. If you've done any reading about cells, you will have come across this. A lot of cells have got the DNA all neatly wrapped up in a membrane, which we call a nucleus. So the DNA is wrapped up in a package, and that package, that little blob, is a nucleus, right? Nucleus, I think it's a Latin word. More than one nucleus. Nuclei, yeah, it's all coming together. So we don't know how living things ended up having a nucleus, their DNA packed up all neatly in this membrane. The scientists think that maybe a big archaea or bacteria swallowed a small one, but then the small one didn't die, and they lived happily together, and the small one became the nucleus. We don't know, I just love thinking about it. It's so cool. But anyway, living things that have their DNA stored in this little nucleus are called eukaryotes. And you are a eukaryote. You're made of lots of different cells. If you look up any diagrams of cells, you will find these little blobs in them, and they are your nuclei, which have got your DNA all nicely wrapped up. Apart from red blood cells, fine, let's just forget about red blood cells. Let's talk about fungus. So, all life on Earth fits into one of these categories, right? Archaea, bacteria, eukarya. Archaea and bacteria is where the DNA is all loosey-goosey, and eukarya is where the DNA is stored in the nucleus. That's what we're talking about for these 8 weeks of lessons. This is the category that we're interested in, the eukaryotes. So for a long time, I'm talking well before Shakespeare, like ages, people have split the big eukaryotes, the things that have their DNA in the little nuclei, into 2 kingdoms. The animal kingdom, here's some animals, your cow, your rabbit, what is that, a mouse, a cat, and the plant kingdom, okay? Here's a cactus, here's a plant with some leaves, here's a toadstool, here's a flower. If you know anything, you might have spotted a problem. Right, let's set up our activity. If you have brought some yeast and some warm water and some sugar and a narrow-necked bottle. If you have not brought any of those things, then you could improvise. Like I know some people are improvising. There's a nearly 4-year-old and a nearly 6-year-old watching who've got like a bit of plastic wallet like strapped with masking tape to a bottle. This is your chance to find out if that works. I'm very excited for you. So what we need to do, if you're doing it with me, you need to get a narrow-necked plastic bottle and a balloon, and we're going to put some yeast 2 teaspoons of yeast. I'm going to do, yeast is expensive, you can probably do 1 teaspoon of yeast in the bottle, same amount of sugar in the bottle, fill it up with warm water. In some of the adverts for this, I said very warm water. Very warm water will kill the yeast. So just use, you need water that you can sort of comfortably put your hand in, just warm water. Yeast, sugar, warm water in a bottle, stick the balloon on top and see what happens. Okay, let's do it. So I have done what I usually do. I'm just doing a slapdash job of things. I should have got you to bring a little piece of paper so that you could make a filter, so that you could easily get the yeast into the bottle, but I didn't do that. So here's what I'm doing. So otherwise it's not very good telly, is it, if you're just seeing my face all the time. I need to get this yeast into this bottle, and now so do you. I'm really sorry. So that's just going to make a massive mess. I'm going to sort of wrap my hand around it. But anyway, I think 2 teaspoons of yeast in the bottle and 2 teaspoons of sugar. Here we go. So that, yeah, I'm just going to use my hand as a little kind of funnel. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It's my desk and I'm a grown-up. Doesn't matter if my desk is covered in yeast for the next 4 years or so. Right. So why are we doing this? Well, yeast is a type of fungus. Yeah, we're actually going to learn all about yeast next week, so I don't want to say too much about yeast. Next week's lesson, we will make a sourdough starter, I think, and learn about yeast in more detail. But yeast is a type of fungus. It's just 1 cell big. The type of yeast that we always think about is baker's yeast, but there are different kinds of yeast. Anyway, spoilers for next week. So I've put my yeast in. And now I'm going to put 2 teaspoons of sugar in using my same terrible hack method. I don't usually do this, but I have set an activity like this up already, which I'm going to try and make exactly the same as this one, but this one that I set up earlier doesn't have any sugar in it. So usually it really annoys me when you look this sort of thing up on the internet and they call it a science experiment. This isn't actually a science experiment. A science experiment, you're testing something. This is super cool and fun, but really it's a science activity. But I am going to turn this into an experiment. So I've got 2 teaspoons of yeast in here and warm water, and I've put a balloon on top. And this one's going to have 2 teaspoons of yeast and 2 teaspoons of sugar and warm water and a balloon on top. So I'm going to try and put the same amount of water into each bottle so that they're both pretty much the same, except this one's got no sugar and this one's got sugar, and I can test to see if it works differently. Okay, so have you got that? 2 teaspoons of sugar, 2 teaspoons of yeast in your bottle. Fill maybe like a third up with warm water, maybe a half. I don't think it really matters. I think more water is better than less water. Come down here with me, can you, and check that I'm putting the right amount of water into my second bottle. Here we go. Does anyone watch Beyblade? My son is really into Beyblade, so I can only apologise if every so often during this lesson I start singing the theme tune. I'm trying to talk like a professional teacher, but that's what my head is doing. Okay, so I have got a jug of water here, and I'm going to try and pour in roughly the same amount of water. Because this is an experiment, right? So I want to make sure that I'm testing whether sugar makes a difference to my experiment. And if I put in different amounts of water, it might be the different amount of water that made the difference. So that was the water, it wasn't me. That will do fine. Okay, and then as soon as you've got the warm water in, stick the balloon on top. Hurry, quickly, stick. Okay, there we go. Right, and we'll just wait and see what happens. There we go. I'm thinking, maybe that's not fair, because surely that hasn't started working already. I think I might have just trapped a load of air in my balloon. Oh well, it'll be fine. I could take it. Okay, I'll take it off again, and I'll squeeze all the air out of my balloon to make it a fair experiment, because this one has definitely not got any air trapped in it. Quick, and even more quick now. Panic. Right, while you're finishing setting that up, and watching what is happening, if indeed anything is happening, I'm going to ask you to think about the differences and the similarities between bread and cake, and promise you that I will make it have something to do with fungus in a minute. Right, so that's the old one with no sugar, and that's the new one that I just did with sugar. Keep an eye on that for me and see what happens. That can go there. And yes, you come down here. So, bread and cake. What are if you got the printout from my work from my website? I think I just said think about the differences, but can you think about the differences and the similarities? If you're the fast writer, you could jot a few things down. Or of course, if you're watching this on catch up, hello people watching on catch up, you can just pause whenever you like. So yeah, if you're watching on catch up, pause the video. If not, have a think about it or write it down. Some differences and some similarities between bread and cake, just as many as you can. I've helpfully got a picture of some bread and some cake and labelled them, in case you don't know what they are. Oh, hello, is it? Toby's watching, aren't you? And was it? Oh man, I can't remember whether it was Amelia or Aurelia, so I shouldn't have started saying it. Is it Amelia? With the incredible oyster mushrooms. I'll find out when I go on. I should say, if you're watching live, then on my Facebook page right now is a post, because you can't comment on this video. But if you have a Facebook account and you want to go over, find my Facebook page, you can write some comments on the post that is at the top of my page at the moment, and I will read them out at the end. And there is an amazing photo of an oyster mushroom that Amelia or Aurelia, sorry dude, has put up. Which I think I'll show you at the end, because it really was beautiful. Sorry, I do this. I ask you a question and then I just chat and distract you. Similarities and differences between bread and cake. I'm going to be quiet and sip my delicious coffee for another 20 seconds. Should we have a look? We've got to get to learning about fungus, haven't we? So as long as you've got one or two, that's fine. Right, what I want you to do now is look if you've written it down, or think about your similarities and differences. Can you think, are they actually a similarity or a difference? So for example, if you said bread is rectangular and cake is round, think now, well, if I changed that, if I made bread round, would I have changed it into cake or not? And the answer is no, isn't it? If you get bread and you make it round, it's still bread. It's just round bread. So it's not really a difference, is it? Do you know what I mean? Like if you said bread and cake are both soft, think, well, if is bread when it goes hard, is it still bread? And it is still bread, isn't it? So is that really something that cake and bread have in common? If you said you put icing on cake, well, if I get some bread and I stick some icing on top, it's still bread, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? So it's not actually really truly a difference between cake and bread. I'm just going to give you another 10 seconds to think how many of those are actually not real differences and similarities. Have you got any that are actually truly, if you changed it, you would be changing the thing into cake or into bread? So I hope that, like me, you're actually finding this really hard to do. It's hard. In the end, you probably find you have to say a few different things. Like you probably have to say cake is usually safe, bread is usually savoury, and cake is like usually sweet. Obviously, you can put sugar in bread, and it's just sweet bread. Bread usually has yeast in it to make it rise, and cake usually doesn't. But yeah, you can get unleavened bread, can't you? You can get like a flatbread or a wrap, which you don't put yeast in it, it doesn't turn into cake. Bread tends to be denser and cake is lighter, but there's no like one rule that you can say. And it's kind of the same, certainly in the old days, it was the same for fungi and plants. So I'm going to make this really hard now. I think this is hard. Can you think of or write at least one thing that fungi and plants have in common that they don't have in common with animals? I've slightly changed this question because on Facebook yesterday, people were going, oh, fungi and plants are both alive. They both exist. Well, yeah, but that's true of animals as well. Can you think of something that is the same of fungi and plants, but it's not the same with animals? And can you think of, or write down if you want, at least one difference between a fungus and a plant? It's hard to do. I've put, if you have no idea even what fungi are and have to completely guess, that's great, because it'll exercise your brain, and then when I tell you, you will remember. And also I will have taught you something which will make me feel good about my life. I've put, like, think about whether they can move, think about where their food comes from. 2 little clues for you. I didn't say. I'm just looking at my balloon activity and realising that I didn't say to give it a good swish around. Oh, calamity. Yeah, make sure you don't do it over your computer, for goodness sake. Make sure you give your sugar and your yeast a good swishy swish. Did I do that without thinking about it? We really want the sugar to dissolve. It's a great noise. There, that's better. How are you doing? I think this is hard. I mean, especially if you don't know anything about fungus. I don't think I could have done this before I researched fungus for these lessons. Well, I suppose the pictures are a clue, actually. But it is brain exercise, for sure. Have you done it? I'm going to move on, because I think you've had a little bit of brain exercise, and to be honest, I don't really care if you got the answer right or not. It's the brain exercise I'm interested in. So if you've just sat there for 10 seconds going, that's totally fine. That's good. It's what I want, actually. Right. Write down at least one thing that fungi and plants have in common. Well, in ye olden times, they didn't have like DNA testing or anything like this. So what they had to do was just kind of look at the fungus and the plant and think about this. So they came up with things like they both grow out of the soil, right? Most of them. They can hold themselves up without bones. This is true. You ever thought about this? This is really cool. Yeah, I never really thought about this, but this is why I went out to get my blade of grass before the lesson. Grass, plants, they don't have bones. But it's so straight. How is it doing that? How is it not flopping over? Like the human cell, so they've both got, fungus and a plant have both got what we call like rigid cell walls. So human cells don't have cell walls, but fungus and plants, they've got cell walls and they're very stiff, and that is how they can both stay up, even though they don't have bones. I can't stop doing that. It's cool. Anyway, right, no bones. But there you go. And the other thing was, they don't move, or so people thought at the time. So this is why people thought fungus and a plant were the same thing, and they put them in these categories, all living things into the category of the animal kingdom, and plants got lumped in with fungi. But think of, or write at least one difference between fungus and plants. Well, plants make their food using energy from the sun. Fungi cannot make their own food. That's one thing that they have in common with us. In fact, animals and fungi have more in common than fungi and plants. We are more closely related to fungi than we are related to plants. So some fungi eat dead stuff, like dead wood, dead leaves, and dead animals. These are your decomposers. So mould gets a bad reputation, doesn't it? But moulds are fungi. All mould is a type of fungus. And they're decomposers as well, which we think of as being gross. But obviously it's good. Like if it weren't for mould, there'd just be loads of dead stuff piled up on the planet from thousands of years ago. So, thanks, mould. Some fungi are parasitic and eat living stuff, like our skin. I'm not going to show you my athlete's foot. If you've ever seen feet that have slightly sort of peely skin on, maybe because someone's worn their socks for too long or their feet have got wet, you'll just have to imagine what that looks like. But yes, athlete's foot is a fungus that is not a decomposer. It is eating living stuff. Yeah. And hopefully, if your balloon's got going, this is YouTube where the lesson is saved forever. So obviously mine isn't working very well. But the yeast in our bottle is a type of fungi, which is a type of fungus, which is kind of eating the sugar, and it should be giving off carbon dioxide. just like we do. So what I wanted to show you, on the first Facebook lesson, it didn't work for ages, and then it just suddenly went poop. So hopefully that'll happen. Yeah, what we should see is that the bottle that didn't have any sugar in isn't working, because the poor yeast in that bottle don't really have anything to eat. I mean, we don't really say eating, they're not putting into their tiny yeasty mouths. But yeast is a living thing, it is a type of fungi, or type of fungus. And yeah, it's like us, it is digesting the sugar. So we put food into our bodies and our digestive juices break it apart. The yeast gives off these enzymes, they're called, like a type of protein, which breaks down the sugar. And then again, it's not breathing, but it gives off carbon dioxide, which should fill a balloon and make the balloon big. We'll see. We will see. Maybe my water was a bit cooler today. Anyway, yes. So that's one big similarity between fungi and animals. A big difference between plants. Sorry. Skipped over this bit. Do you know this? Plants take in water and they take in carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and they use the energy from the sun to turn that into food. Yeah, kind of like how we put ingredients in an oven. Plants get their ingredients and then they use the energy from the sun to make food. Humans can't do that. Fungus can't do that. But I did learn a new cool thing just in the last couple of days. It's a bit like the cake and the bread thing. It's not that simple. There is a plant called the ghost pipe. Have you heard of this? It's a plant. It's a plant, but doesn't make its own food. It doesn't, that's why it's not green. It's the green stuff in plants that they use to get energy from the sun. The ghost pipe hooks up to fungi and uses that to steal food from other plants. But it's still a plant, because apparently its ancestors used to make their own food, and then the ghost pipe just happened to evolve differently. But yeah, good fun pub quiz fact, hey? The ghost pipe can't make its own food. Very cool. Right. So another difference is, like I say, fungi and plants, they do both have rigid cell walls, so they keep themselves upright without bones, but they're made of different things. So the plant cell walls are made out of cellulose, which you might have heard of because it's the same stuff that we make paper out of, because paper is made out of plants. And fungi cell walls are made out of something which I found out in the first Facebook lesson is not called chitin. I'm so disappointed. The whole way through the first Facebook lesson, I called it chitin. It's not chitin, it's chitin. Should be chitin. Anyway, you pronounce it chitin. So plants can hold themselves up without bones because cellulose, and fungi hold themselves up because their rigid cell walls are made out of chitin. Chitin is super cool. It's also what makes up partly the exoskeletons of beetles or crabs, like this chitin in a woodlouse exoskeleton, and the beaks of giant squids. A horrifying photo of a beak of a giant squid for you there. So yeah, chitin. It's the stuff that makes mushrooms stay upright. So finally, only in 1969, fungi got their own kingdom, but it still causes confusion. I'm going to show you the website now. Have you heard of the Chelsea Flower Show? Chelsea Flower Show, big flower show, happens every year. They have competitions for the best, I don't know, all kinds of like the best things, but they have a plant of the year. So the Royal Horticultural Society have a plant of the year, 2024. I'm just going to show you the finalists and just see if you notice anything unusual about the RSC Plant of the Year 2024. So the winner of the best plant, I don't know how they judge this, but the best plant of 2024 was this flowering cherry. Lovely, very nice. Second place was a chocolate cherry, also fine. Yeah, the third place went to some plant. Here are all the finalists. Are you ready? So they didn't win, but they were in the final. I'm just going to scroll through, see if you see anything interesting. It's a mushroom! It's a mushroom. It's a mushroom. An oyster mushroom in the final for Plant of the Year. I love it! Humans, animals are more closely related to fungus than they are related to plants. Fungus more closely related to us than to plants. It's literally like there was a kitten in the final for best flower of the year. It's so lovely. Anyway, right, we are nearly at the end of the lesson actually. Just got a little quiz for you. How's my activity doing? Oh my goodness, this is the lamest thing I've ever seen. Oh, so sad. Just gonna, come on little guys, come on. You can do it. Right, so what we're going to be talking about in the next, we've got 7 more lessons on fungus to go. We're going to be looking at the different types of fungi. So as we've talked about briefly, yeast is a type of fungus. We're going to be making some sourdough starter next week, learning about yeast. Molds are a type of fungus, and mushrooms are a type of fungus. So I'm not really going to talk about mould very much, because how these lessons are free is I write a supporter magazine and post it out to people who support me with £5 a month. And I have written a supporter magazine all about mould. And I don't really like to double up what's in the magazine and what I put out for free, because my supporters really just supporting the lessons, but they very occasionally get a magazine, and I sort of need that to be special for them because it's the only thing that they get. You can sign up and get that. I'll tell you how at the end of the lesson. But yeah, we'll do yeasts next week, and then the rest of the lessons we're going to do what everyone really wants to know, right? Which is the different parts of the mushroom, how to recognise different mushrooms. Okay. Right, very quickly then, just before we go back to the what is fungi picture and see what you've learned. It is currently autumn. If you're watching live, we're doing this because fungi grows a lot in September, October. So there are horse chestnut leaves around, which are looking super sad. I thought it was a good opportunity to tell you about them. So we will do a little bit on mould, because conker leaves, horse chestnut leaves are getting beaten up for a couple of different reasons. Can you see on this leaf, there are some like dark brown tracks which really neatly follow the kind of veins of the leaf, right? I don't know if you can just make that out. That is something called a leaf miner moth. So a moth lays its eggs on the leaf, the caterpillar neatly just munches through the veins, it doesn't go over the lines, and then it makes a little nest and then like turns into a moth. So I don't know if you can just make out on this leaf there are some dark spots. They are going to be, you can see it really clearly on this one. They are going to be moths, which are decimating horse chestnut trees. We've done a whole Lego Storytime show about conker trees, so I won't go into it too much. But yeah, that is not a fungus. That is moth damage. You see all those little spots there? Yeah, so these are like I could pick that open and reveal a caterpillar, but I'm not going to, because we all love nature and you don't want me to kill them, so I won't. But anyway, yeah, that's leaf miner moth damage. But this leaf was interesting because it's also got some mould on it. Can you see? So that's the leaf miner moth, that strip there. But that brown bit there, which isn't all neatly going along in a line and is kind of wavy, that is something called leaf blotch. You can tell because it's not very neat, and also because that yellow outline is a sign of leaf blotch as well. So there you go, yeah. So we've got a leaf miner moth track and some fungus damage on one leaf, which is very interesting for everyone except the leaf. Sorry, horse chestnut trees. Best of luck, dudes. Right, come on then, let's go back to this before we do our little quiz. It's just 4 questions just to see what you've remembered this lesson. Which of these are fungi? Oh, should I tell you now? I better tell you now. So another reason quizzes are good, because I remember what I forgot to tell you. Toadstools and mushrooms, pretty much the same thing. Toadstool isn't a scientific word. A toadstool is, often if people are talking about a mushroom that is poisonous, they use the word toadstool, but don't go off that. It's just another word for mushroom, basically. Like a kind of fun slangy word, not a scientific word. Okay, which of these are fungi? Go back to your sheet if you've got the sheet in front of you, or can you remember your answers? Are you changing your answers in your head? Egg, these specific blotches on conker leaves that follow the vein lines. A pine cone, lichen, toadstool, yeast and mould. Which of those are fungi and which are not fungi? Hopefully you can tell me now. I'll give you like 8 seconds and then I'll just go through the answer. So you won't know all of them, will you? Maybe. One of them you're going to have to guess. If you think you know it all and I'm going too slowly, you can always amuse yourself by liking and subscribing. Yeah? I always forget to say that. You're supposed to say that, aren't you? Like and subscribe! Okay, eggs. Not fungi. No, they grow into animals. Those specific blotches on the conker leaf, that's not a fungus either. That is the tracks of a leaf miner moth, but often, yes, the blotches on conker leaves would be a fungus. Plants often get fungus growing on them. If you see any like powdery white stuff on apple tree leaves, that's a fungus. Pine cones, no, that's how pine trees make their seeds. Lichen, yes, we need to do a Lego story show about lichen. It's half fungus and half something else. It's two things. It's a fungus and an algae, or a fungus and a bacteria working together. How cool is that? Toadstools, yep, that's fungus. Yeast, yep, that's fungus. We'll learn all about that next week. And mold, yes, that is also a fungus. You can learn about that in my magazine if you get it. Okay, time for a quiz. But before the quiz, I got to be really annoying. I got to do my ad. I'm really sorry. So how this works is we'll get to the quiz really fast. I just got to do the ad really fast because it's literally how I make money. So all my lessons are free. You'll have noticed this lesson is free. The printouts for this lesson are free. I do IGCSE physics lessons free. Printouts for those free. Coming up shortly on YouTube, if you're watching live, there is a Lego Storytime show, which is like a chat and a Lego story and an activity. Also free. It's just easier admin-wise for me if everything is free. And I just say, I've got this website called Coffee, and if you want to go there and sign up to support me with £5 a month, if you think that these lessons are worth it, then you can. And people are. I cannot believe that people are. I definitely wouldn't have bothered by now. I'd be like, yeah, I'll do it later. Yeah, I'll do it later. 4 years later, I'll do it later. But anyway, if you sign up, you do receive Theatre of Science magazine. I think it's the best and the least reliable science magazine out there available, because I just write it, I work really hard on it, and it takes me forever, and then when it's finished, I post it to my supporters who are incredibly patient. So the idea is the £5 a month you send me is sort of to support the lessons, and you just get this when it's ready from me to say thank you so much. So if you sign up with £5 a month, you get this one, which is on acids. It has got, as Theatre of Science magazine quite often has a choose your own adventure because people really like those. So this one has. You can go back in time. It's got a which acidic object do you quiz. It's got a beautiful comic that my husband illustrates for me about acid rain, and it's got some really good activities about acids. So it definitely comes with some litmus papers so that you can test acidic objects around your house. If you're watching live, it might come with some sweets. I'm not trying to like do a cool ad, but I've had loads of people signing up recently, which is really great because it's the start of term. It was coming with some little sour sweets so that you could taste acidic stuff and find out why acids are sour. But I don't know how many sweets I've got left, but hopefully it will. If you sign up for £6 a month, you get the Mould magazine, which is obviously relevant for us today. That also has a choose your own adventure in it. You are a mould expert in a museum, and if you do your job well, you get promoted, and if you don't do your job well, I think stuff sets on fire. It's got a comic about how penicillin was discovered. Most importantly for me, I'm very proud of this, there's a load of grow your own mould activities on the internet, but they all say you've got to put the mould in like a plastic bottle or a glass bottle and then for safety throw the whole thing away. But I got these home compostable plastic bags, so you can make this little tray and grow mouldy food, which I found really interesting, but have it all in a home compostable plastic bag and then you can just compost a lot. So yeah, if you sign up with £6 a month, I put that one in as well. But if you only want to sign up with £5 a month, or if you've been supporting me for ages and you haven't got that, I will get around to putting that in my coffee shop just for supporters, so you can buy it separately. Okay, so sorry. That's the end of my advert. Have to do it because it's literally, this job is the only way that anyone in my house makes money now. That's not a choice that my family made, sadly, but it is true. So yeah, I have to ask you to pay me, and if you can't pay me, don't worry about it. That's the whole point of these lessons. Right, they are accessible to everyone. Question number 1. Which of these is not a fungus? Which of these is not a fungus? Is it A, athlete's foot, B, moss, C, yeast, or D, button mushrooms? Which of those is not a fungus? Oh, I think I just found a hole in my bottle. Amazing. Yeah, I think we've just discovered why this isn't working. Oh, YouTube. Oh no, there was a hole in my balloon. I meant, not my bottle, a hole in my balloon. Oh, the sadness. Which of these is not a fungus? Athlete's foot, moss, yeast, or button mushrooms? Moving on. Oh, right, I've moved it. Maybe I'll gather a little bit of carbon dioxide before the end of the lesson. Number 2. This is really mean because I don't even really think that spelling is important. In Shakespeare's day, people didn't care about how stuff was spelled, but I keep spelling it wrong. So I threw this in. What do you call the study of fungus? Is it A, Mycology? Is it B, Mys-ology? Is it C, Michology? Or is it D, Mycology? It's mycology, but how do you spell mycology? Yeah, like I say, I just keep getting it wrong. So I thought, well, this might help me remember it if I stick this question in. Oh my goodness. Oh, I've got a little bit of balloon action here. It's good. Are you okay with that? Doesn't matter, does it? If you're anything like me, you'll just have to guess. But let's move on. Question number 3. What are the cell walls of fungi made from? What are the cell walls of fungi made from? Is it A, cellulose, B, chitin, C, DNA, or D, celery? What are the cell walls of fungi made from? A, cellulose, B, chitin, C, DNA, or D, celery? All right, and the last question. Oh, Lara, you tricked us. We thought this was multiple choice. No! Question number 4, last question. Can you name one thing that humans and fungi have in common that doesn't apply to plants? Name one thing humans and fungi have in common that doesn't apply to plants. Oh, I'm pretty proud of that question. Hey, thanks for liking, chums. There's a lot of likes on this video. I don't know why that matters, but I'm sure it does. I'm sure it'll help. Don't forget you can subscribe as well. I should just blow this balloon up and stick it back on. Just for no, I won't. It's looking okay. Alright, let's go through the answers then. Have you got that? I think that one was quite tricky. Like I say, I don't think I would have got that before I researched these lessons. Anyway, number 1, which of these is not a fungus? Moss is not a fungus. Athlete's foot is a fungus, isn't it? It's not a composer, it eats your skin. Yeast is a fungus, mushrooms are fungi, we'll learn all about those later, but no, moss is a plant. Number 2, the study of fungus is, I don't know why I'm getting it wrong. I just keep putting an H in it, but I'm making it too complicated. It's just and then ecology. I mean, how have I got that wrong? It's just mycology. But yeah, I keep putting an H in. So anyway, there you go. Number 3. What are the cell walls of fungi made from? I think you found it's pronounced chitin, Lara. Chitin. There you go. So it is. It's chitin. Plants are made from cellulose, and fungus made from chitin. Yeah. And number 4, one similarity between humans and fungus. Neither of them can make their own food. Quite a lot of people on Facebook yesterday were saying they don't need sunlight. I'm like, well, a fungus can grow in the dark. I don't know. I haven't looked into the science of whether humans need sunlight. I suspect we do. But plants need sunlight to make food. So yeah, neither of them can make their own food is the answer that I was thinking of. If you knew some stuff about fungus, you could have said they can both move, because fungus can move, generally more slowly than humans, but yes, they can. Right, so well done you lot. Oh, that is the end of the lesson. Look, God, this yeast is working very hard for me. Hopefully you have got a balloon. It's absolutely full of carbon dioxide. It's a good thing really. Never in any theatre of science lesson have I ever got us to tie off a balloon, because I don't like balloons. They're not very good for the environment, are they? So I just use the same balloon over and over and over again. But it might be time for me to pick up another balloon in a charity shop, because apparently this one is full of holes. Right, I'm going over to my Facebook page because, like I said at the start of the show, if you're watching live, then you'll have noticed there are no comments on YouTube, which some people find better because comments can be a bit distracting. But if you've got a Facebook account, then I go over to my Facebook page at this point. Yay, comments! And there's a post right at the top of my Facebook page. So if you want to comment on that post, then I will see it now and I will say hello to you. Right, let's have a look. Good morning, Jessica, first lesson back. Nice, hello. Right, yeah, so if you're going now, if you're not on Facebook, good for you, frankly. There's a lot of things about Facebook, they're terrible, aren't they? But I also almost entirely rely on it for my income. So, you know, swings and roundabouts. Yeah, if you're not on Facebook, you could listen, because you might want to listen to some questions. This is often where really good questions come up and I hopefully answer them. But if you're not on Facebook, then I will see you later. Bye. Or if you've been watching on Catch Up, thank you for watching on Catch Up. Thank you. If you just come and silently watch on catch up and support me per month, then that is brilliant for me. Thank you. So yeah, I will see you next week for when we make a sourdough starter and we learn about yeast. Jessica, first lesson about hello. Ella, I've been getting a repetitive sore throat. So I need to make sure that I'm speaking from the diaphragm and not from the throat and not getting excited. So Vega and Enzo from Gloucestershire, hello, I am excited. This is my new excited voice. I'm very excited that you are here. Hello. Oh yeah, Leanne, we are new, but so excited to be joining you this morning. Yes, hello. Oh no, I thought it was at 10 a.m. Will it be available later? We have the printouts and experiment list ready to go. Little face with purple stars in the eyes. Yeah, it's on at 10 a.m. Man, my lesson, my lessons are really accessible. That is one thing that can be said for my lessons. They are accessible. If you're on the internet, you can access my lessons. So yes, hello. If you're watching this in the future, I hope everything's fine. Hello to you. Thank you for coming. I'm going to call you Anne. Hello. Hello, Humphrey. Humphrey, you enjoyed my new office? Yes. People who came last year know that for a very long time I was doing these shows in the corner of my kitchen, which was extremely inconvenient for everybody. So we've had a loft conversion and my whole house has been shuffled around. And yeah, I'm in my new, it's a studio. I know. You can only see this bit, you can't see. This is a disaster. I'll get it sorted. Do you want to see it? You do, don't you? Go on. All right, here we go. This is what the rest of my studio looks like. Yeah. It's going to be great. It's going to be... Plus, no one sees this bit anyway, so it doesn't matter. No one else has seen that. I love that your mould growing is eco-friendly too. Yeah, it's really important. Do you know what? Anyway, sorry, I could chat too much. I'm doing Lego Story Show after this. Lego Story Show on jellyfish at 10:30, which I need to set up again. But yeah, doing this job has made me realise how there's a lot of people who are just not being eco-friendly when they really could be. Like, people should be doing better. I keep reading in science magazines. Where's my pop? I keep reading in science magazines about, like, you will need half a bucket of PVA glue. PVA glue is plastic. And then on the next page, it's like, oh, there's plastic in the oceans. We have to solve the problem, kids. And on the next page, it's like, this is just generally speaking, like on the internet as well. There's a load of stuff about, like, we need to save the oceans from plastic. Here's a cool activity you can do using glitter. It's like, it's so... Anyway. Magnus, hello. Hello, Magnus, saving me from a big rant about plastic. Toby says he has a buddy that's a mushroom. He's a real fun guy. Ha ha ha! Fun. Very good. And yeast reproduce by budding. I believe that's what it's called. I'll do some research and find out next week, but you can use that joke again next week. Hi, how are you? This lesson was really cool. I learned so much, thank you. Ah, that's nice. I'm going to call you Melody, if that is your name. Hello, thank you. That's very kind of you. Great lesson, thank you. Oh yeah, all right. John and Seamus and Enin. Wait, what? John and Seamus and... Is that... Wait, Seamus. So, Ainan? Ainan. I'm going to say Ainan, but I've sort of just made it up. But hello, good to see you. 4 out of 4 in the quiz. Lana and Finley, nice, that's good. I always say, it sounds harsh, I don't really care what you get in the quiz, but that is cool though. The quiz is for me to find out if I've taught the lesson well. But that is interesting actually, because on Facebook, in the first lesson, people never do as well in the quiz as they do on YouTube. And it's because I go, oh, you didn't do very well in the quiz, so I need to teach that bit better. And then I teach it better, see? That's what they teach you. Teacher's cool. Hey, Lauren's here. Hello, Lauren, all right. Hello, Arthur and baby Malcolm. Our first time tuning in, just waiting for you to come live. Oh, hello, Arthur. Arthur, say this to Malcolm for me. Hello, Malcolm. How are you so cool? I'm so good to see you. Hello. Thanks, Arthur. We only had a massive balloon, but it's working. Wow. Oh, yeah, one of those ones on elastic. Oh, actually, I did have one of those. I should have used that as well. P.S. Nice signed photo of Professor Brian Cox. Oh, I know. This is the joke. My friend Gemma from Hoglets Theatre got me the most amazing birthday present. It's a signed photo of Brian Cox, scientist, and a signed photo of Brian Cox, the actor. Because Theatre of Science, is that the best thing anyone's ever done for me? I mean, no, because you guys have made me all these gorgeous wormies, because Wormy's a Theatre of Science mascot, but it's a really cool thing. Hello, Ethan. Ethan's here, brilliant. Balin and Tate, all prepped and ready. You've chosen mycology for your topic in a home and science fair next week. No way, that's awesome. Pillage all of my content, dudes. That's great. Oh, and then people are chatting to you about your homemade science fair. It feels like this isn't anything to do with me, really. Oh, Truro. Oh, nice. Blah, 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 blah. My son's loved it because his balloon was small. It flown off. Did you actually watch? You propelled your balloon off. Oh, look. Yay. I'm gonna call that a win. No way, you used a tiny balloon and it flew off the bottle. That's really good. Oh, hello. Hello, Story in Winter. All right, Winter and Story. Hello. That's very kind of you. Thank you. Arthur loves the mushroom behind you. Oh, it's so cute, isn't it? It's so cute. This is Mushy, the mushroom. It's actually a fly agaric, but we'll learn all about that in a few weeks' time. I'm so excited for the sourdough lesson. My mum makes it. No way. But you have to take over because her arm is in a cast. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is well timed. Sourdough starters. It's going to be a really boring activity because they're really simple to get going. I think the hard bit is, the thing that I'm going to find really hard is not giving up on it. Not just forgetting all about it. Because that's what I do. So I'm going to try not to forget all about it. And you'll have to try too. All right, Flynn, he's watching alone because his brother decided to try high school. No way. Oh my days. Ah, wow. Tell him a huge congratulations. Best of luck. I don't know. Say something that sounds like positive and appropriate. Wow, that's amazing. Oh, it's a lot of cool science kit in high school. Lichen, a fungus and an algae met one day and took a liking to each other. I haven't heard that one before. Oscar is so excited to be doing science again with you. Hello, Oscar. Welcome back. He says, hello. Hello, Oscar. I don't know if you're saying it like that, but I'm going to say it like that. Oscar, hello. All right, Ruben and Kobe. Hello. Ruben and Kobe, you're having a right science week with me, aren't you? That's nice. Hey, it's Robin and Hissy. Hissy is Robin's slightly flammable pet snake. P.S. Here are some cool fungi we found near our home. Oh, you found some dead man's fingers. Oh, awesome. I think people are chatting to you about that. Hissy and Celeste the red blood cell. Oh, I know what you could do. Celeste the red blood cell, even though you don't have a nucleus. Yes, you can. Welcome to the Science Alliance. That is very cute. Bella is getting in on that. Oh, nice. Ellie, my balloon just popped up in the middle of the lesson. Yes. Oh, look, there's me in between two balloons. That's cool. You did not know the fungi can move. Yeah, we'll talk more about that later. You made these mushrooms out of hot glue. Also, Lara, are you up in your loft? No, the kids are up in the loft. I'm not up in the loft. I'm in the middle bit. Ethan would like to know about the copy of Jurassic Park that's on your bookshelf. Oh my goodness, my friend got this for me when he went on holiday to France this year. He said, saw this and thought of you. It's the Jurassic Park. You know, a lot of people know that Jurassic Park is my all-time favourite film because it's the best film ever made. But yeah, it's actually really interesting. Right, Ethan, let's talk about that at the end because I better get through these comments because some people will just want to chat and then go. Bella, one difference between fungi and plants is that fungi sustains like little messengers and plants sustains humans like little doctors. Mycelium blows my... All right, we will get to that. Hello, Marley. Happy new term. Thanks for the little tiny picture of a very cute mushroom. These are mushrooms we grew. What? Sebastian and Humphrey literally grew those mushrooms and then harvested them. That's amazing. Hello, Gus. Yes, for the rest of these lessons, you will be called Fungus. Yes. Oh, you win. I mean, it's not a competition, but you win. All right, Jay and Daisy and Daniel, hello. It is good to be back. It is good to read your names. Hello. All right, Grace and Hope. Oh, Grace and Hope. Hello. Oh, I missed you. Super excited. Thank you. Oh, a joke from the girls. Why did the mushroom get invited to the party? Because he's a fungi. Another. Wait. Hold the phone. Hold the phone. Another joke. Mushrooms always win arguments. They don't leave much room for debate. This is just going to get worse, isn't it? It's going to get worse before it gets better. Edward, Annabelle and Evelyn are wondering if you've painted your room and taken down your whiteboard or if there's a different room that you are in. Yes, I am in a different room. I'm actually in the room that I was in before this room got taken over. But it had a lot of changes in our house. Yeah, no, it's a different room to the room that was, because that was my kitchen. Oh, Imogen and Ophelia are here. Oh, that's lovely. That's such a nice mixture of new people and extreme regulars. Hello, Toby. Hello. I think yours was the first ever message that I read. Hello, Kaya. I am in my new office. Daddy, we're in the mushrooms. He's a physicist. Oh, no. Oh, Humphrey and Sebastian, that's harsh. He is a physicist, but we prefer science with you. Can my kids watch your dad streaming free science lessons? Would that be okay? they're not interested in mine. Is that, or ask your dad, that would be great, please, if you could make that happen. That is a great photo anyway, thank you. Oh, hello, Evelyn and Rose and Annabelle and Edwards. Hello. Hello, me and Mum excited for this lesson. Mum and Dad are both poorly. Oh no, and your dad's still asleep. Oh, well, I guess that's good. You've been watching Alwyn Oak on YouTube, and she goes for little walks to find mushrooms and fungi in her forest. I do not know who Alwyn Oak is. They've got a very wholesome name. Makes me want to watch them. All right, Sue and James, hello. We'll watch this on replay later on. Oh my goodness, Sue and James, I'm so sorry that you're watching our catch-up, and it took me so long to get to your names. Oh, if you've watched this whole time, Sue and James, hello. Ruben and Kobe, here again. Did you know that there is a species of termite that help grow a specific species of mushroom? No. Thank you for telling me that before I teach all these lessons, because I will try and look that up. Aurelia! All right, Aurelia. Of course it was you. Hello, Aurelia. Nice mushrooms, dude. They are stunning. I'm opening some of these in new tabs. Pearl and Rose, hello. All right, Lily, hello. Pearl and Rose and Lily and Benjamin, hello. And Edmund, all right. Oh, a new coffee supporter. Oh, you are very kind. Thank you. That's so lovely. Hello, Jack and Colby. Wait, what? That's a very cool picture of you guys. Wow, just every colour. Ah, that's awesome. And Shuki and Arthur and Eunice and Salah and Musa are here. Hello, you lot. Ah, it's nice to, I was going to say read your names. It's nice to say your names out loud again. You know what I mean. Hello. I hear you're coming to, some of you coming to see me in a play. I'm in a Shakespeare play and you booked tickets, which was extremely kind and slightly brave of you. I'm practicing hard because you made me nervous. Whoa, look at these mushrooms. Look at Bella's mushrooms made out of hot glue. Let's look at some photos and then I'll talk about Jurassic Park. Wow, they are beautiful. I thought it was food, but it's still good, even though that isn't a chocolate log. Swiss roll and fondant. Anyway, that is really nice. What else we got? Yeah, look, here we go. These are Sebastian Humphrey's mushrooms. That's amazing. And you harvested them. Don't eat mushrooms, guys. Don't eat mushrooms. I'm just going to say this the whole time. Do not eat mushrooms. And there's there's Dad. Like, yeah, mushrooms. Right. Yeah, this book, it's really interesting because it's a French book. Like, would you call it a graphic novel? Of the film Jurassic Park. And my husband's a graphic designer. So we actually had a lot of interesting things to say about this book. Because what will have happened, he reckons, is that they will have made a film of Jurassic Park and they'll have said to this illustrator, right, we need you to draw a picture of Jurassic Park. But of course it was like the 90s. So he didn't have the internet. So he wouldn't have had like loads of digital photos to look at that he could just reference. So my husband reckons that this illustrator probably only maybe like saw the film once, or maybe saw a bit of the film, which is why Alan Grant is just terrible. But it probably wasn't the illustrator's fault. Like Ian Malcolm had a slightly more memorable face, but yeah, Alan Grant does not come off terribly well. And also, husband was very, this is really boring now for most people, but husband was really interested because he does the comic, right? So we talk about comics a lot now. That it would have been English and they've translated it into French. So the person illustrating it probably was English, or it would have been in English first, which is why the words in French don't quite fit the bubbles. Because when you do draw comics, someone draws it and someone does the lettering and someone does the speech bubbles. So the speech bubbles are for the English. So you can see like, c'est pas vrai, doesn't quite fit in that. I find it interesting. And I love Jurassic Park. So yeah, thanks Mark, if you're watching, for getting me that. That is going there. Because though they are all my favourite, actually I'm not a massive fan of Brian Cox, the actor, but he's really representing theatre, which I do love. Anyway, right, oh my goodness, I have to go because I'm doing a Lego story show about jellyfish in 27 minutes on YouTube and I need to reset the Lego story show. So if you want to come and learn about jellyfish, just come back here at 10:30. You'll be most welcome. I am sorry that there's probably a lot of you commenting on my Facebook page now because you've just found out that I can have comments on Facebook and I probably haven't read those comments. I'll just look at the newest comments just to see. Because it's really annoying when you come on and say hello and then I go, okay, see you later, bye. Let's have a look. It is pronounced termitomaces. Termitomaces. Oh, there you go. So interesting about the speech bubbles. I forget, you're like me, right? You're interested in everything. Termitomaces. I'm writing that down. Termitomaces. This was so fun. Ah, your 4-year-old and your 7-year-old boys really enjoyed. Mem, thank you. That's very nice of you to say, Essie. I'm glad I refreshed. Oscar's friend made mushrooms using her 3D printer. That's amazing. Tomato seeds, thank you. Oh, Toby wants to know what Shakespeare play and where. Toby, I'm in. I love the York Shakespeare Project, who are putting on every Shakespeare play that was ever written in York. They've already done it once and it was so fun, we just started again. So it's Two Gentlemen of Verona, which is possibly his first play and widely considered to be one of his worst plays. So you probably haven't seen it before. Two Gentlemen of Verona. It's the only Shakespeare play with an actual part for a dog. So in Shakespeare's time, there would have been like the comic, the sort of comedian bloke would have come on stage with a real dog and talked to the dog. And of course, I got the part of the bloke with the dog. So I am playing Lance, or however you say it. And I'm going to have another bloke with me who's got a dog puppet on stage. Oh, Jack and Colby, I'm just reading your incredibly lovely comment about how I'm the best teacher in the world. I mean, I don't know about that. I'm just saying it out loud because I'm reading it here. Oh my goodness. Oh, Jack and Colby have got the cutest little, is that a test tube with a tiny little balloon on it? That's the sweetest thing ever. So yeah, Two Gentlemen of Verona, it's on in October in York. I guess if you look up like York Shakespeare Project, Two Gentlemen of Verona, you find it. I'm certainly not going to be posting any links. I'm going to make you work hard to get access to this. The director has set it in a music hall. So it's the 1880s music hall. And I'm like a dog trick act, but we're doing a Shakespeare play from the 1500s. It's going to be interesting. Grace and Hope, are you one of the newest comments? Oh no, okay, good. So we're back to where we were. Excellent. And Jen says hello. Hello, Jen. Right, and we got a balloon that is, makes a very satisfying sound. So it all ended well. Right, thank you so much for coming, you lot. Thank you so much for the people who are supporting me. You know who you are, and there's more of you now. Thank you, since I've been chatting on. Loads more of you signed up, which is very kind. I will be posting those out hopefully tomorrow or over the weekend. I will see you all very soon. Thank you again. Bye.